Art has always been a mirror reflecting the deepest corners of the human soul. It captures our joys, our sorrows, and sometimes our darkest nightmares. Throughout history, painters have dared to depict scenes that stir anxiety and even horror. The torment of sinners in hell, medieval tortures, the brutalities of war, the chilling moments when death knocks at the door, or the tragic realization that it's already too late. For some, the most unsettling works are those of the Expressionists, who sought to capture raw emotion, pure, unfiltered horror. And then there are ancient myths, fertile ground for our deepest anxieties. Today, I want to take you on a journey into one such myth, brought to life in a painting that stands as perhaps the most terrifying in the history of art. Imagine standing before Peter Paul Rubens' rendition of the Greek myth of the Titan Cronus, known to the Romans as Saturn. In this myth, Saturn, having usurped power from his father, is told of a prophecy. One of his own children will overthrow him. Desperate to prevent this fate, he devours each of his children the moment they're born. Yet, his last child, Zeus, escapes, grows up, and ultimately fulfills the prophecy by overthrowing his tyrant father. Rubens captures Saturn as a powerful, commanding figure, a tyrant who knowingly commits evil. Despite the nightmarish subject, the painting is infused with the grandeur and beauty characteristic of the Baroque style. It's unsettling, yes, but it still holds a certain majesty. But the painting I want to delve into today is something altogether different. Feast your eyes, or perhaps shield them, on Francisco Goya's Saturn Devouring His Son. This is not a scene crafted for beauty or majesty. No, this is a raw, visceral depiction of a god consumed by madness and horror. Saturn's eyes are wide with animalistic fear. His massive, distorted body doesn't even fit entirely on the canvas, adding a suffocating sense of claustrophobia. He grips the lifeless body of his child so tightly that his knuckles whiten and blood oozes from beneath his fingers. Disturbingly, the victim isn't an infant, but a grown figure, fully aware of the gruesome fate unfolding. This painting was found 50 years after Goya's death, on the very walls of his secluded home where he lived out his final years in isolation. Alongside 13 other haunting works discovered there, it became part of what is now known as the Pinturas Negras, or black paintings. Named for their dark palettes and nightmarish themes, these works plunge into the deepest recesses of the human psyche. Some say they were born from Goya's deteriorating mental state, afflicted by illness. But perhaps they are the culmination of a lifetime of witnessing the turmoil of his beloved Spain, a profound commentary on humanity itself. Yet, Francisco Goya wasn't always a harbinger of darkness. In his earlier years, Goya was a painter of light, joy, and festivity. Influenced by artists like Antoine Watteau, he depicted scenes brimming with happiness. Children at play, vibrant festivals, the lively streets of Madrid, and the idyllic charm of rural life. His works exuded youth and vitality, capturing the very essence of carefree delight. His talent did not go unnoticed. Goya's energetic spirit and artistic prowess quickly earned him influential patrons among Spain's enlightened minority, the Ilustrados. These were people fascinated by the French Enlightenment, champions of education and equal rights for all. Through their support, Goya flourished, becoming the most sought-after portraitist in Madrid. In 1788, when King Charles IV ascended the throne, Goya's star continued to rise. Appointed as the official court painter, he captured the likenesses of the royal family. But look closely at these portraits, and you'll notice something intriguing. Goya did not flatter his subjects. Their faces are painted with an unvarnished honesty that borders on the uncomplimentary, a bold move for a court artist. In his most famous portrait of the royal family, Goya even includes himself, glancing out at us as if to say, "I paint what I see, judge for yourself." Life was good for Goya. He was wealthy, celebrated, and at the pinnacle of Spanish society. But fate had other plans. In 1793, tragedy struck. While visiting a friend, Goya was suddenly overcome by a mysterious illness. He experienced intense ringing in his ears, lost his balance, and soon after became completely deaf. The exact cause remains a mystery to this day. Some speculate syphilis, others suggest poisoning from his own paints, or perhaps a stroke. This personal catastrophe profoundly changed him. Cut off from the world of sound, Goya's art began to transform. The bright colors dimmed, the joyful scenes faded. In their place emerged darker themes, demons, witches, and the haunting depths of human madness. His work became a reflection of his inner turmoil, a canvas for his fears and nightmares. One of his most significant works from this period is The Sleep of Reason Produces Monsters, part of his Los Capricos series. This collection of etchings was a scathing critique of Spanish society, the corruption, the superstition, the folly of both the nobility and the common folk. Goya spared no one. It was daring, provocative, and, unsurprisingly, attracted the unwelcome attention of the Inquisition. To save himself, Goya dedicated the series to the king, seeking royal protection. Then came the war. In 1808, Napoleon's forces invaded Spain, plunging the country into chaos. Goya witnessed firsthand the horrors of war, the senseless violence, the suffering of innocents, the brutality inflicted by both the French troops and the Spanish resistance. He chronicled these atrocities in his harrowing series, The Disasters of War. Unlike the glorified depictions common in that era, Goya's portrayals were raw and unfiltered. There were no heroes, only victims. His etchings showed the true face of war, a monstrous, all-consuming beast that spared no one. One of his most powerful paintings from this time is The 3rd of May, 1808. It captures the grim moment before a mass execution. On one side, a faceless firing squad. On the other, a group of helpless prisoners. At the center stands a man in a white shirt, arms outstretched, evoking the image of Christ on the cross. His face is etched with despair, but also defiance. It's a haunting reminder of the human cost of war. When the war ended, Spain did not find peace. The restored monarchy brought repression instead of reform. Disillusioned and fearing for his safety, Goya withdrew from public life. He moved to a secluded farmhouse on the outskirts of Madrid, the infamous House of the Deaf Man. It was here, in isolation, that he created the black paintings. These were not commissions. They were not meant for public display. They were personal, painted directly onto the walls of his home, a private dialogue between Goya and his demons. In these works, he explored themes of darkness, madness, and the grotesque facets of human nature. Saturn Devouring His Son stands out as the most chilling of them all. Some interpret it as a metaphor for the consuming nature of time, or the way those in power destroy their own legacy to cling to control. Others see it as Goya's personal torment, perhaps a reflection on the loss of his own children, as only one of his 7 offspring survived to adulthood. The raw emotion in Saturn's eyes, the sheer madness, captures a depth of despair that's hard to fathom. Another of the black paintings, simply titled The Dog, portrays a lone canine seemingly sinking into an abyss, its gaze upward, perhaps searching for a savior who will never come. It's a powerful symbol of isolation and abandonment, resonating with anyone who has ever felt lost in the vast expanse of life. In Duel with Cudgels, 2 men are locked in combat, buried up to their knees in the earth, doomed to fight without escape. It's a stark representation of human conflict, futile and self-destructive. Goya's later years were spent in Bordeaux, France, far from the political turmoil of Spain. Even in exile, he continued to create, never silencing the restless spirit within. He passed away in 1828 at the age of 82, leaving behind a legacy that would influence generations to come. The black paintings remained hidden until after his death. When they were finally revealed, the world was not ready. Critics didn't know what to make of these haunting images, but over time they came to be seen as masterpieces, works that delved into expressionism long before the term existed. Francisco Goya's journey was one of light and shadow, joy and despair. He bore witness to the best and worst of humanity, and he wasn't afraid to lay it bare on canvas. His courage to confront the monstrous depths of the human condition has left an indelible mark on the world of art. Through his paintings, Goya invites us to look inward, to face our own fears and follies. He shows us that the most terrifying monsters aren't the stuff of myth and legend. They are within us, and perhaps by acknowledging them we can find a way to overcome,